Scariest Spongebob Squarepants Episodes. Hey guys, welcome back to Laffy Tunes. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the scariest SpongeBob SquarePants episodes. Stay tuned. A Pal for Gary. First up, we have the episode titled A Pal for Gary. SpongeBob can't bring his pet snail Gary to work. Concerned about his loneliness, he gets him another snail friend called Puffy Fluffy. Puffy turns out to be quite a bully, harassing Gary at any moment when they are alone. SpongeBob still believes that Gary is the troublemaker and not Puffy. Puffy ends up turning into a large reptilian monster of sort and even attempts to eat Gary at one point. SpongeBob finds his house in a mess and still feels all of this might be Gary's undoing out of jealousy from Puffy. The slug-like appearance of Puffy final versions along with its pointy teeth and Sarlacc-like tongues might be one scary episode for younger viewers. Squidward in Clarinet Land. In this Season 7 episode, Squidward is eager to protect his clarinet from the unruly Krusty Krab clientele before a recital, opting to store it in a locker begrudgingly provided by Mr. Krabs. Unfortunately, SpongeBob takes it upon himself to renovate the locker, transforming it into a twisted, unreal maze that seems to have no end. To reclaim his instrument, Squidward tracks through a clarinet forest, gets swallowed by a giant eagle, and chases SpongeBob through the outer reaches of the space before eventually reaching his recital, from which SpongeBob's antics promptly scare him away. Squid's Visit. SpongeBob can be quite a nuisance for his neighbor Squidward, who considers himself to be intellectually superior to any other Bikini Bottom citizens. It's for these reasons that Squidward takes pride in his taste of art and his modernist home design. SpongeBob desperately tries to invite him to his own pineapple house, and invitations that Squidward continuously rejects. Hellbent on inviting Squidward, the sponge ends up stealing his vacuum, and you already know how Squidward reacts to such antics. Squidward leaves his dinner in the oven and angrily enters the pineapple. However, to his surprise, he finds SpongeBob to be so attached to him that he has redesigned his entire home to match that of Squidward's. Meanwhile, his own house is destroyed by a fire as the oven was switched on. Hopeless and distressed, he ends up staying with SpongeBob. Planet of the Jellyfish. You know jellyfish are dangerous, right? In Planet of the Jellyfish, SpongeBob and Sandy engage in a combat with villainous jellyfish known as Jellians that clone the inhabitants of Bikini Bottom. The premise is clearly a reference to Invasions of the Body Snatchers, while the title can be a reference to Planet of the Apes or Planet of the Vampires. The creepy part is the creations of the Jellians. A jellyfish-like aliens with black eyes consumes a jellyfish and spits out a pink goo, which turns into a hybrid of the monsters and its previously jellyfish form. This mutated jellyfish then becomes a parasite, infecting every other creature in its vicinity into black-eyed Jellians. I Was a Teenage Gary. This might be another scary episode for kids. After Squidward accidentally injects him with a snail plasma, SpongeBob slowly begins morphing into a snail-sponge hybrid in a clear homage to the 80s Cronenberg body horror classic The Fly. The new hybrid sponge-snail's body functions slow down, and he loses the ability to talk. The only line that he can say is, "Something is wrong with meow." Squidward turns frantic after seeing his neighbor's grotesque transformation. Scared by SpongeBob pleas for help, the tentacled neighbor starts running around his house. Amidst the ruckus, the plasma syringe accidentally pierces his nose, turning him into a snail too. Unlike other scary SpongeBob episodes, the story ends on an unresolved cliffhanger, as Gary and the snail's versions of Squidward and SpongeBob meowing under the moon. Spongehenge. Though not exactly creepy, the Season 5 episode Spongehenge definitely has an eerie and off-kilter feel to it. Harsh winds are causing SpongeBob's pores to whistle a tune that attracts jellyfish, and he becomes a societal outcast as a result. Forced to take refuge in a cave, he constructs giant stone monuments for himself in an effort to draw the attention of the jellyfish away from him. His plan is eventually successful, but in a hilarious parody of the Planet of the Apes, SpongeBob returns to discover that he is now in the far future and the Krusty Krab has been destroyed. Graveyard Shift. In this episode with a creepy title for a kids show, the crew at Krusty Krab's are forced to work overtime one night. Bored with the night shift and with the restaurant empty, Squidward conjures up a spooky tale to creep out SpongeBob. His story is pretty detailed as he talks about the hash-slinging slasher, a former fry cook whose clumsiness lost him a hand, which was later replaced with a spatula. He later got run over by a bus and was fired from his job at his funeral. The atmospheric horror builds up as a figure eerily similar to the slasher makes its appearance, equally scaring Squidward and SpongeBob. When the end is anticlimactic, it's one of the best creepy episodes of the show, even featuring an appearance by Count Orlok from Nosferatu. There you have it! These were amongst the creepiest episodes on SpongeBob. What were your favorite episodes? Let us know in the comment below. Thank you for watching.